Understanding how simple it is to rewire your brain and modify it is the first step toward healing your life. You refer this as neuroplasticity. The high-value males get this idea and take advantage of it. Welcome back to Potent Logic, gentlemen, provocative wisdom and guidance for every man. You must realize that everyone's brain has been rewired, whether they are millionaires or penniless. By repeatedly engaging in the same routines throughout their lives, everyone has rewired their brain by knowing how neuroplasticity works and how you can rewire and modify your brain. Your life is now one step closer to being fixed. Therefore, you must first change your habits and then your mind before you can change your results. By grasping this idea, you'll be able to speed up your brain's recovery from negative addictions like porn. Let's look at how you may utilize the idea of neuroplasticity to your advantage first. Addictions before we go on to how you can use it to your benefit. Those that involve pornography in particular are among the deadliest. Why? Because they are the most neuroplastic. This indicates that in comparison to other addictions, they may modify and rewire your brain with such ease. There is a buttload of studies that demonstrates how your brain will shrink and become dysfunctional if you regularly and continuously engage in porn for any length of time. That is true. It doesn't matter how long you watch porn, 5 minutes or an hour, the neuroplastic effect is the same. The EEG machine, which stands for electroencephalogram, is used by clinicians. With the aid of this technology, they can scan people's brain activity. The startling finding is right here. Doctors discovered that folks who consume pornographic material had slower brains than those who do not. Their minds aren't powerful enough because they're always in an anxious state. It can get complicated, so let's keep it straightforward. Hebb's law is a phenomenon that exists. We are all aware that the neurons in our brain form neural pathways. Together, firing neurons form connections, and the direction you take will depend on your decisions. To hardwire the healthy pathway into your brain, you must repeatedly use it. The alarming aspect is that making bad decisions causes your brain to develop unhealthy neural pathways. This implies that your brain won't be able to properly fire off your neurons. It could sometimes speed them up too quickly or too slowly. So what happens? Simple. You'll start to feel unwell because your brain is now using unhealthy neural connections. Your brain will likely start to feel bored, overwhelmed, and weary. This is a sign that it needs more stimulation, and we all know what that stimulation is. It is pleading with you to feed its craving more. Here's another explanation. A man experiences an intriguing thing during an orgasm. Dopamine levels fall as a result of the sudden appearance of prolactin. Dopamine is that neurotransmitter that makes you feel great and gives you a ton of confidence to get things done. It is crucial to motivation and self-assurance. We desire dopamine, and we desire it in large quantities. Like estrogen, prolactin is a vital hormone for both men and women, but it's also the hormone in charge of female breast development and breastfeeding. As guys, we want the least amount of prolactin present. The reason why men feel like they lost their power after relapsing is due to the quick decline in dopamine and increase in prolactin. It's a sudden diminishing of jing. The good news is that you don't start over from scratch if you retain for 6 months and then have intercourse. It throws you off course, but not completely. Even better, if the loss of jing does occur, it can promptly replenish by using specific strategies called harm reduction. That is outside the scope of this article, but I'll touch on it as we continue down the rabbit hole in the next videos. Let me read you a quotation. Rule your mind or it will rule you, it says. Your mind is exactly what it means to rule you when it follows this cycle of receiving additional addiction feeding to the brain. Making your brain long for healthy habits is the only way to get out of this situation. You need to develop your brain to the point where it craves more of your healthy behaviors, just as it is asking you to feed the addiction to it. Soon, we'll talk about how to accomplish this. But if you stop watching porn, this pattern will begin to slow down, and you'll be able to get your mind back on track. Otherwise, you'll be caught in a never-ending cycle of negative feedback, indicating that as you feed your brain more porn, it shrinks and develops unhealthy neural pathways. It will need more as it follows more unhealthy courses. As a result, you continue in a loop where you gradually become weaker. It is, to put it bluntly, gradual suicide. With all these bad habits, you won't be able to relate to others when you enter the real world. Why? Because there isn't enough stimulation in the outside world anymore. Your brain no longer experiences the same dopamine high that it once did when you feel the cool breeze in your skin or the warmth of the sun. So what happens? You return to porn to enjoy yourself, and the negative feedback cycle again. Let's now discuss the major question you were hoping for. How might neuroplasticity be used for good? The anti-Hebbian learning hypothesis is what you would call this. For this, you'll start making better decisions and hardwire them in the new brain pattern while simultaneously disabling your negative brain pattern. Making better decisions over time and repeating them will cause it to automatically become the best brain pattern. Neuroplasticity operates in this manner. Your brain fixes the physical damage first, then the functional damage, through corrective feedback. The mind is where it all begins. From there, it influences your behaviors, which influence your results, as you have already heard. Just like a computer, your brain needs to be restarted. For instance, you would restart your computer if it was experiencing technical difficulties. You will use your thinking in a similar way here. Start by putting your attention on brain exercise. What is your brain working at this very moment? Ask yourself, is it requesting additional prompts? If so, you must be aware of the negative feedback loop we discussed. The only way out is to gradually weaken and break the cycle by substituting different behaviors that you repeat repeatedly. How can you regulate your brain? Ask yourself. Pornography is one of the most neuroplastic activities that can utterly destroy your mind and cognitive abilities, as I previously stated. Thankfully, there are additional neuroplastic workouts with a comparable impact. To assist you to break your addiction, substitute these activities for porn at first. Video gaming and music are two neuroplastic activities. Even though they might not have the same brain rewiring effects as porn, however, they are unquestionably the ones that will change your brain the most. However, there is a drawback to substituting music and video games for porn. You run the risk of being hooked on those things as well. Your brain will force you to constantly feed it with music and video games, exactly like porn, resulting in another negative feedback cycle for you. This explains why a lot of individuals become addicted to video games. Here, moderation is crucial. Use moderation when engaging in these two activities to prevent your brain from becoming accustomed to them. You must never depend on anything for happiness if you want to achieve in life, whether it is video games, food, or music. You should only use these as stepping stones to get your brain functioning normally again, which will allow you to spend hours relaxing in nature without feeling the urge to pick up anything stimulating. Exercise, eating, memory exercises, juggling, and learning a new language or talent are among more neuroplastic activities you can engage in to break free from porn. When you begin brain training, your brain will be in a stronger, healthier state. By repeatedly choosing better behaviors, you'll strengthen your brain pattern. Repetition is important here. Choose a habit that will improve your life, then practice it quite often until it becomes second nature to you. Therefore, each time your brain asks for more of it, consider this. You didn't become addicted to porn the moment you watched it for the first time. It wasn't until you completed that activity repeatedly that it was ingrained in your memory. This is called neuroplasticity, and you should repeat it with another healthier behaviors like getting up at the same time every morning. You might need to set an alarm for the first few days, but after doing it repeatedly, it will be so deeply embedded in your memory that you won't even need one. Because their brains have been hardwired to do so, Most people who work at a 9-to-5 office job will awaken by 8 in the morning, even on the weekends. You'll get more interested in the hockey game over time. You'll enjoy conversing and laughing while seated next to your significant other, and falling asleep soundly will be simpler than ever. So brothers, be sure to utilize frequent, regular brain training activities in your daily schedule. Change your life by applying neuroplasticity concepts. By carrying out all of these actions, you are shrinking your brain, restoring its functionality, and healing the damage. You are currently in the rising spiral, a positive feedback loop. And that's it for today's video. Don't forget to show some love, tap the subscribe button, and hit like. Comment down your thoughts and opinions about today's topic, and let me know if you want me to do a specific topic. As always, it has been a pleasure.